Hey, Hawkeye fans, welcome back. We are fresh off of a bye week, so we have nothing to recap, but we have an awesome conversation with Diante Vines, and we are previewing our game versus Northwestern at Wrigley Field. This is Talkin Hawks, presented by Hills Bank.
No matter where you are in life, Hills Bank is here to help you succeed. Whether you're buying your first house, saving for your child's future, or preparing for retirement, you can count on the people at Hills Bank for the support you need to reach your goals. It's easy to connect with a banker in person, over the phone, or on hillsbank.com because we believe banking is better through human connection. Hills Bank is an equal housing lender and FDIC member.
Hello, Matt.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Just a little tired.
No, never.
No, when I say, oh, our kids don't sleep through the night, and someone says, oh, my kid's been sleeping through the night since
they walked home from the hospital.
walked home from the hospital.
That's what everybody
They've been
says.
sleeping ever since.
Yes.
It's every time. I'm convinced people have to be lying.
They have to. There's no way. For those of you out there, Blair, 5 months old, likes to play a game where it's like, should I go to bed at 7? But I'm going to try and stay up till 11:30.
No, she literally goes to
and
bed
she
at
wins every time.
11:30 or midnight every night, and we can't figure it out. Tried all the things. Okay, I'm over that conversation. I've had it way too much lately.
Yes.
Bye week, coming off of it. How are we feeling?
Guys should feel a little bit rejuvenated.
Okay.
You know, we talked about the ones on defense are probably getting a little more rest. Guys on offense probably getting a little bit more. And they started tapered down in practice. They're not quite as physical once you reach November-ish. Just to try and keep guys as fresh as possible going into the back half of the season. KF always talks about wanting to play meaningful games in November. And I think as of right now, we're in that discussion.
Well, yeah, because it's almost November. So that makes sense.
I'm just saying the games are still meaningful. Like you can still go out there and there's still an opportunity to go to Indianapolis, still an opportunity to play a New Year's Bowl game. Like there's still a lot out there. Is my
Understood.
point.
Do we have an unsung hero? I mentioned that we really don't have anything to recap, but we got to have an unsung hero of the bye week. And so who is that? Brought to you by JB Roofing, by the way.
Yeah, kind of the guys that make everything go. It's the training staff.
The training staff. So like the athletic trainers.
The athletic trainers, yeah. The ones that, the same people that tape your ankles are the ones that helping you get back from 2 or 3 different foot surgeries. So like in my time there, I had 2 foot surgeries. I had a couple of AC joints that had to get taped down so I could do stuff. Yeah, those were rough. But I spent a lot of time in the training room, back fracture, like all this kind of stuff that they helped me through. So they're there. Once we flip to the morning schedule, they're there from like 4 a.m. until, and I think they like shift off, but they're there until, meetings start at 5. So, I mean, they're there for a long time. Yeah. 4 a.m. to 5 p.m. roughly. I mean, and they could probably have better numbers than I do, but something like that. And when you spend that much time with people, obviously they're trying to get you better, but I've got a personal relationship with a lot of those guys, which is pretty cool.
And also unfortunate.
Also unfortunate, I guess. But we were talking to Deacon, and Cade's in there all the time. Prior to him getting hurt, he was in there all the time. It's a place where, they've got all kinds of different equipment, whether it's, E-stim, the boots that, pump up with air to try and keep your legs, keep the blood circulating. They got the hot and cold tubs going. They got the pool so you can get the pool and get some range of motion without having to run on the field. So, I mean, there's lots of different things that they do to help out. And they're there a lot. They got music going and those are relationships that like I said, I still have, which is pretty cool. But, yeah, those guys make it go. Some guys try to stay out of there as much as possible, which is fine. But I do think that there's a lot to be said for the amount of time that those people put in. And Cammie heads it up right now. When I was there, it was Russ. But Cammie does a great job in making sure that she takes care of those guys. And not only that, but like if I'm not wearing a bandage or if I'm not like limping, it's hard to necessarily know that there's something wrong with me. So, I mean, she's going to have those discussions with the coaches. Like players are going to discuss too. But it's good for her to be like, okay, no. Like this is what's going on. Because inevitably as coaches, we want to push and get the most out of you. Like I can speak to my time at Solon. It's like we want to push you and get you going. But we also understand that there's a nuance there of like, okay, I also had shin stress reaction. So in 2016.
Okay, so basically what that was it felt like shin splints, but his shins were like almost having like fractures in them.
Yeah, they were afraid that I was going to snap my shins in 2016. So what they did was, it was really cool. So we wear these, they kind of look like sports bras, but essentially it's a GPS and a heart rate monitor, and they can monitor your high speed yards, which I think was anything over like 14 miles an hour was considered a high speed yard. And so like routes on air and stuff like that, you're going to reach that a lot quicker because you boy fast. But I had to say it. Not just a possession receiver. Anyway, so like they would monitor. So it'd be like, okay, you know, I was only allowed 250 high speed yards. So like we'd get the routes on air and I'd be at 175, and they're like, okay, well, we got to do, we're going to go to the bike now because we don't want to get to 250 before we get to team. Mm-hmm. So I can get a few reps to team. Like there's a lot of stuff that goes on that they monitor and take care of. And they take care of a lot of hamstring health to try and cut down on soft tissue injury. So like there's a lot that's, especially in a field that's always growing, you know, with new equipment, new ways of doing things, new protocols for like coming back from an ACL or coming back from an elbow or whatever. So unsung hero, the athletic training staff.
I like it. It's a very good one. Some people that, I mean, it's perfect for the unsung hero, go unnoticed. A lot of people don't see their faces or know who they are. But
they're just walking somebody to the tent most of the time. That's the only time they get any camera time.
Or carrying them sometimes, unfortunately. But very good. Okay, I like that one. Well, we are going to hop into our discussion with Diante Vines coming up. I hope you guys enjoy this. It's
a wild ride.
All right, we will be right back. Need a new roof, gutter, or siding in Eastern Iowa? Call JB Roofing, the local and reliable roofer with over 20 years of experience. They do one roof at a time, unlike others who juggle multiple projects and cut corners. They also serve a 45-mile radius around Kelowna and help you with any insurance claims. Don't wait. Call 319-656-ROOF or visit their website, jbroofingkelowna.com, for a free estimate. JB Roofing, the small town roofer you can trust. Hey, Matt, did you know that Iowa City Tire does more than just tires?
Yeah. I mean, they've been servicing the corridor for like 40 years.
Okay, but did you know that until somebody had to tell you?
No, I didn't.
Well, hey, check out how they're doing things in a very different way at Iowa City Tire and Service, where service actually comes first. Visit ictire.com. All right, we're about to hop into our conversation for this bye week, and today joining us is Diante Vines. Diante, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
We are good. It was so hard to get a hold of you, and we learned why, because you don't like your phone.
Don't be on the phone.
All right, how's your bye week going? How you feeling?
Pretty good. Nice chance to just rest, recover, watch some football, play the video game with my friends and stuff. So it's been good.
So you do communicate?
I do on the video game. Sit on, had my headset on, play the game with my friends back home. That's how you get to me. If you got a PS5, you could talk to me.
PS5. Yeah. There you go.
Laura got me a PS5. It was a PS4 before that, right? And then, yeah, and then she got me a PS5.
Word. What games you play?
Well, I just got Madden, so playing with that a little bit. I know I'm a little late.
Yeah.
But I don't have a ton of time for video games with two kids. But every now and then I'll play a little bit. Yeah.
Well, Diante, where are you from?
Connecticut, Danbury, Connecticut. Yeah.
Did you know Nico before you came
I didn't know Nico, but I played his prep school like the couple years he left after. So like I had heard of him, but didn't really know him until we got here.
Did he help recruit you here?
Nah. It was all Ken O'Keefe and Copeland that got me here. Yeah.
Once we found out you were from Connecticut, I was like, I'm sure Coach O had something to do with it.
Coach O, yeah. I was always calling on the phone, like 40-minute conversations and stuff. I just sit there like, kind of got to go, Coach.
Oh, that is so funny. Okay, tell me about like growing up. You're like, as a kid, what was that like for you?
So I grew up with my mom, sister, and brother, both older than me. Just a lot of fun. We lived in this place called Fairfield Ridge, and so I had so many friends that like lived in the same little block as us, and all we did was just play sports all the time, just go outside all the time, just be bad little kids running around doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff all the time. And I just really had a great family upbringing. My dad was a great dad. Played sports with me and stuff like that too. So no complaints about how I grew up for sure.
What all sports did you play growing up?
Basketball, baseball, football. Ran a little track.
Dang.
I touched everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Were you like pretty good at basketball? Because we had Jay Higgins on here, and he was like, you probably know exactly where this is going.
He thinks he's a hooper.
Yeah.
But I gave Jay buckets one time in the quarters. I bump, spun off and fade away, hitting in his face, drove by, laid it up on his head. easy day for me in the office.
That's so embarrassing for him.
to
I
be
hope he
fair-
watches this.
To be fair, he said it was like he's got the LeBron mindset.
Jay is actually a hooper though. He can hoop, but he
Okay.
thinks he is like LeBron. He's not like LeBron. He's like Kwame Brown versus LeBron. You know what I'm saying? He's not LeBron.
That is so
Yikes.
funny. Okay, so you're the youngest out of your siblings. Older siblings, what do they do? Do they play sports?
My brother plays sports. My sister actually was really fast. She was a track girl. She was fast. Yeah, but my sister is a nurse. She's 33. She has 2 kids. So I have a niece that's 13, and she's like one of the top softball players in the whole world. Like she,
Dang.
yeah, she,
Back in
yeah,
Connecticut?
she plays for New York Husky team. They're a pretty good team. They win like nationals and stuff like that.
Wow.
So she's like, she'll probably be, if she's not the best athlete out of us, then my nephew, he's only 5, but he like throws perfect spirals, hits the ball like farther than every other kid, like in baseball and stuff like that. So he'll be pretty athletic.
It's just in the genes.
It's in the genes.
I love it. And then your brother, you guys played on the same football team in high school, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
we did. That's like my best football moments ever, just being able to be out there with him and stuff like that. And he's the reason I even played sports and stuff like that. He like played everything, so I just always wanted to be like big brother. You know, like he kicked me to the curb half the time, but I still like stay around, try to be with him and his friends, do what he's doing and stuff like that. So we just have like great moments playing football at high school. Our high school team was pretty bad, but like just like thinking back to those moments, so there's like some cool.
Were you all the same position?
He was a linebacker and a quarterback.
So
And
he
I
was
was-
throwing you touchdowns?
Yeah. So I was a quarterback in high school too, but the coaches like they didn't really like me when I first got there, so they had me on the sideline just messing around. And then they finally threw me in one day, and he was a quarterback. I was playing like we were playing like the wing T triple option type offense.
So you don't even have a receiver.
Horrible, yeah. So I came out the backfield, and he got smashed on the play, threw a long pass to me. I called a one-hand catch on the sideline. That's like our best moment ever. Like, and like, the crowd went crazy. And from there, I like finally started playing a lot more and stuff like that. So we got to like play on defense together and play on offense together. So it was pretty fun.
Oh, that is awesome. And then
Yeah.
what did he end up doing after high school?
He just went and got a job and stuff like that. He was good at football, like really good too. He just messed up his shoulders and stuff like that. Didn't want surgery and stuff really. So he just ended up just retiring from it.
Yep. Just got to know when it's
Yeah,
time. That's
exactly.
crazy. Okay. So then high school. Tell me about that like high school experience. I understand you had kind of like a near-death experience,
Yeah, I
right?
did, yeah.
Okay. Explain this.
Yeah, so I was just, it's crazy 'cause I was cooking some food, and I'm not a chef at all. I'm the worst chef probably ever. And I was cooking some eggs and stuff like that. And I had told my mom, like, oh, my eggs was like runny and they touched like my sausage. So I redo the sausage or something. She was like, nah, people eat raw eggs all the time. You'll be fine. I'm like, all right, cool. Eat it. Don't think anything about it. And a couple of days later, I just like get like really sick. So we don't know if it's from that food or from this place called Elmer's in Danbury. I'm not going to trash them too bad, though, but they could have gotten me sick too. So I ended up getting Salmonella and E. coli, and they just were misdiagnosing everything so much. They kept saying like I had like a kidney infection. I had like all these different things. My mom kept saying she thought it was Salmonella, and they didn't really believe it. They're like, oh, Salmonella's so rare to get, like blah, blah, blah. So they kept giving me all these different pills and ended up getting me like septic. So it made my blood all poison. And I ended up like getting really sick. So they had like these, it was like 6 months of everything. They had like these 2 little pills they brought into the emergency room when I was there. And it was like, if you take these pills, you got a 50-50 chance of living. If you don't, then you just got to see kind of what happens. So I'm like,
And how old are you right now?
like
at this time?
14, 15. I'm like,
Oh
oh
my
my God, like, okay, like, that's crazy. I'm like looking at my mom, my grandma and stuff like that. They're like crying and stuff. I'm like just sitting there like mad awkward. I'm like, this is awkward. I was like, I'm not really nervous, crazy right now, but I'm like, it's just awkward. Like, I don't really know what I'm about to do here. So I'm just sitting there for like ever. And then like my grandma, or I call her Nona, my Italian grandma, she was like, please take it, baby, just take it. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I pop them. I'm like, we'll see what happens. So, but I ended up getting better off of it. But then it kind of started going back and forth. So now I ended up getting admitted to the Children's Hospital, Hartford Children's Hospital. And I said, like, they definitely saved my life. Like, all the stuff they did for me while I was there. And
So at that point, they still didn't know it was salmonella?
they took, it went all the way to my pediatrician. I had to go to my pediatrician.
How long is this time frame? I'm sorry, I keep
This
interrupting.
is like,
but
it was like over 6 months of just like going back and forth, just all this happening. Like I was just like in and out of school. Like I would go to school for a day and like not go to school for a couple of days. I was like, I had reactive arthritis. So like my whole left side of my body like just shut down. I had to like put a boot on. I had to walk around in crutches. And then like they kept draining my knees and stuff like that because so much fluid in there. I used to have like perfect eyesight. Now I have like contact and stuff like that because I had it in my eyes. My eyes like swelled up crazy. They're always like red and stuff like that.
Bro.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I would like literally like be very sick, like throwing up, come out the hospital to go play football on that Friday night.
You were still playing?
Still playing. Go out there.
Did you go to practice?
Touchdowns. I barely went to practice. Went to practice sometimes. Went in, did my thing. Came to the game on Friday. I remember because I left the hospital. We were playing West Hill. It was our homecoming game. I left the hospital like a couple of days prior to that so I can get some practices in. And I had like one of the best games of my life. I had like 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, like forced a fumble, picked the fumble up. It was like crazy. Then I went to the homecoming that night, had fun. But then I was back sick.
Then you went back to the hospital.
So I was just still sick, still taking all these pills, throwing up all the time. But that's how much I love football that I was willing to just be sick and keep playing. Because the guy was the doctor, Dr. Fader. He was like, I mean, you're sick, but like if you feel good enough to play football, I mean, go ahead. I'm like, cool.
Oh my gosh.
Keep playing.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
and then you finally like got over the hump, got better at some point, right?
Well, I ended up getting better. And I felt like good for a while. And then that's all happened my freshman year. And then like my junior year, I ended up getting sick again from it. Like just like kind of like flared back up. Mm-hmm. So then I just like was sick again for a couple more months. But then I finally got like this little surgery they did. I just like went in my stomach, cleaned all my stuff out, killed all my own bacteria, gave me someone else's bacteria. And then
gave you someone else's bacteria?
I'm sorry, you're just gonna skim over that?
You're way too relaxed about this.
Yeah, he's like, I almost died, is whatever.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. It's definitely a crazy story, crazy situation.
Especially like trying to get recruited through all this. Like that's
yeah, definitely.
What was that like?
That's what made me go to a prep school because I just felt like I missed so much of that season, just being sick, and I didn't think I played well and like I like all state and all that stuff, but I just didn't feel like I showcased what I really could have done just because I was sick half the time. So then I ended up going to a prep school just to try something else out, get a couple more, like one more year in and see what can happen.
Wow. Okay. So tell me about your experience at the prep school. Which one did you go to? What was that like?
Yeah. So I went from Danbury High, which was awesome. I like loved my time there. It was the biggest high school in Connecticut. I grew up with all my friends.
How big was your class?
And at Danbury High, we had like, 800,000 type to that type range.
Per class?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Crazy school. Like over 4,000 kids in the school. It's a crazy school.
That's unbelievable.
It's a huge school. Like they're just building so much stuff into it right now too, just because so many more kids just keep going to the school. It's a huge school, and it was just.
So how many were on your football team?
A lot, but the team wasn't good. You know, the worst thing about that school was that one year we won basketball championship, track, wrestling, swimming, tennis, like literally everything going on in the whole school. Yeah. The only thing we couldn't win was football. Dang. And coaching wasn't the best there with the football staff. So it was more of the coaching than the players because every player played basketball, ran track.
Yeah.
The same dude.
Did wrestling. Everyone did the same thing. It's just that on the football field, we had like the top athletes in the world, but we were just like running triple option. We had like speed everywhere, like tall guys. So more was the coaching. We should have won something there. But yeah, that was like the fun time in my life. Just all my friends in high school, we just had a great time there. Then I went to the prep school, which was like boring because I just went from one of the most fun schools in Connecticut to like this $70,000 school with a bunch of rich kids, and it was definitely.
How many people were at this prep school? I mean, obviously, are you looking at 800 to 1,000?
No, we were probably looking at like 50 kids per class, 60 kids per class.
Damn. Oh my goodness.
It was not that many people in that school.
And
it was a boarding school. So I had to live there, which made it even crazier for me.
Yeah.
Was this far from your high school?
It was like
from where you were living?
45 to an hour, yeah.
That's not too bad.
Not crazy. My mom would never drive me back and forth every day, so I had to sleep there. Mm-hmm. So
was it like shirt and tie or suit and tie, like that kind of thing? Or
nah,
what?
You had to wear like a button up or like a little collar and then some khakis and stuff like that. But I would just wear a sweatshirt, so I didn't have to go through that process of wearing. Like I remember the first week I had like a button up. I never wore button ups in my school. So I'm like, this is like terrible. I'm trying to find a way to make it look cool. So I have like a white t-shirt in there, open the button up all the way and stuff like that. I'm like, I kind of look cool with this. I can rock out with it.
Yeah.
So I'm like walking through
And
the
then they get
hallway,
mad, right?
and they're like, button your shirt. I'm like, what? I'm like, what? Okay, so I button it up a little bit. Then I walk right away and I unbutton it again. And I go sit down like this little, it's called Bingham Auditorium. I go sit down there for like the little morning announcements. So it's just all crazy to me too, because I get morning announcements in high school. I was like, what? Who's doing this right now? So like, I'm sitting there. And then when I'm leaving out, I see the same guy again. He was like, hey, didn't you just button that up? I'm like, oh yeah, it just didn't look good. So I had to unbutton it again, bro. I'm like, sorry. And he was like, I'm gonna tell your coach. I'm like, don't worry about it. I'll go tell him. So it was just like funny stuff like that. But then after the first game, I like played so good, like best receiver they probably seen in a while. So then they left me alone for the rest of the time I was there. They just let me be me.
Different offense, I'm assuming.
Exactly. Way different offense. We had passed the ball. My boy Coach Whitley, he was a dog. Drew a lot of stuff up for me to get the ball, and we won a championship my first year there, so that was fun.
Really?
Yeah.
And so how many years were you there?
2.
2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then after that, go through kind of the recruiting process. What was that like for you?
That was slow at first. I didn't really have much happening for me. I had all like the little small schools in like that little area by me. And my first big one was Iowa. After the opening, I went to the opening.
What's the opening for those that are watching?
That Nike opening. So it's like a camp where they like recruit like the top like people around your area, I guess, to go to like one camp together. And then you kind of have to run the 40, do the 5-10-5, do the vertical. Then you do one-on-ones, receiver drills, DB drills, all that type of stuff.
Dang.
So there were like some big name guys there, and like I just got the invite because I had all-state, good stats and stuff like that. So they just brought me over. And I just seen who was there. I'm like, oh, I kind of know these guys from like the world. Like, okay, this could be an opportunity for me to make something happen for myself.
That's wild.
And I remember Julian Fleming was the number one recruit in the nation at that time, a receiver. And he was at the camp. And I was like, whatever he does, I'm just going to go after him and try to like put on the show after what he does. So like, he like did his jump. I did my jump. He did his 40. I ran a couple people after him, ran my 40 and stuff like that. And I ended up having the second highest like receiver rating out of the thing or something like that. Second or third highest receiver rating out of the thing. So like all the Twitter stuff is like, who is this Diante Vines kid? Who's Diante Vines kid? And I see so many coaches start following me and stuff like that. Cope like comes through that too and all that. So then I end up like just having so many coaches keep like coming to after, come watch me run routes and like play DB drills and stuff like that. And I finally like got my offers through all that stuff.
And what other offers did you get? So Iowa was the first one.
Yeah, Iowa, Boston College, Syracuse. I was talking to Oregon for signing day. Talked to Nebraska, Wisconsin, all those schools just kind of started flooding in. But Cope was the first one to like actually offer me, and that like stuck with me forever because I was like so many people like were talking to me and like had the confidence they said to me, but he just came there like watched me run 10 routes and was like, okay, you got a full ride, and I'm like, cool.
Wow.
Like,
was that was your goal? I'm assuming
yeah,
you wanted that full
exactly.
ride.
I
Okay.
just wanted a full ride to a school that trusted me first, and he was the first one to just like come out there, all business. Didn't waste my time. Didn't watch me run. Like, oh, I'll get back to you. Blah blah blah.
Sure.
Just like because like couple days before that, I remember UMass came in and they told me like, and I don't know if you guys UMass is 1-something usually. Like they're usually horrible football, and like he told me like, oh, I don't know if you'll be like good enough to play receiver there. Maybe DB. I don't know if like this is like if you're FBS talent type situation. I was like,
That's what they said to you?
yeah. So I'm like, me and my boy Skylar Bell, who plays receiver at Wisconsin now. So we're like, okay, like this guy.
That's tough.
Yeah, I'm just 1 in 10 school telling me we can't play. I'm like, yeah, we don't want to play there anyway. So then we and a couple of days later, Cope comes there, offers both of us on the spot, and then he's texting us like, he's just like, yeah, sorry about like, I'm sorry. We made a bad judgment call. Like, we know, like, I don't know what we was thinking. I'll watch out to you in the future and stuff like that. And like, he still like texts me sometimes, just like, great game or like great play. So happy to see you out there starting and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is that one of your 400 unread text messages?
Yeah, oh my God, you should be one of those text messages. I just try not to hold no grudge to him. Text him back, say thanks, Coach.
What was your first opinion when you saw Coach Cope? He way too big to be a
monster.
receivers coach.
Not even exactly. He's just all these muscles and stuff. Like, and then I find he's a quarterback. Makes it even crazier. He was a quarterback in college. So
he wasn't big like that. I mean, I swear every time I see him in the weight room, he has yet to do legs. He'll be like, everybody talking, nobody want to deadlift with me.
Yeah. I just told him at the end of the season we're gonna have a squat competition. I'm like, dog, I know you can't squat a lot. Them legs is little. Like, he can't squat, but he swears he can squat. I tell him it's like he's cheating because he's probably pressing the weight up as he's going down. Man.
He just stood up after he presses it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so then you fly out here, have an official visit, I'm assuming. Did your mom come with you?
Yeah, my mom and my cousin came out here.
And your cousin too.
Yep.
And what were your thoughts?
Oh, yeah.
At first?
I popped the window open, looked outside. I was like, I won't be coming here. I'm like, what is this place? Like, I just seen, like, looking from the plane, all you see is the grass and the dirt. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's not for me. I was like, I don't know where I just came in here, we're driving down. I'm just like seeing straight grass. I'm like, looking at my mom, my cousin. I'm like, yeah, this is not the place. I was like, this is no way. I don't know about this spot. But then we just got here, and as everything was going on, I was just like, oh, it's actually not that bad. I was like, I had Mir as my host, so he gave me a good time.
Amir Smith-Marset?
Yeah.
Amir different.
Oh, man.
So,
what was that like, having him as a host?
Be aware that we are recorded, so you probably can't say too much.
Yeah, for sure.
Amir different.
Yeah, that boy had me. He definitely had me having a good time. I definitely went into the next meeting the next day just tired and feeling crazy.
Feeling great.
But,
we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that was crazy. Just seeing the whole environment. And then just like kind of when we get into Iowa City, I'm like, oh, I mean, now I can see that like it's just like this own little.
It's a pocket.
Yeah, it's just his own spot of stuff going on. So I was like, that won't be that bad.
Yeah.
So it's been good ever since.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, because Amir from out there too, right?
Yeah, he's
from Jersey?
Newark. Yeah.
He's from Newark, okay. Because Akram was from out there, Akram Wadley, and then I think he hosted Amir or something to get him out here. And then I didn't know if Nico would have anything to do with you, but that's kind of crazy too.
Never even hooked up with Nico when I came out here.
Yeah. But you guys do have similar styles.
Yeah.
You and Nico. Are you? So who's more stylish, you or him?
Me.
You?
He say it too.
He said that y'all call him Nico Swag.
Yeah, I do. I call him Swaggy all the time. What up, Swags? He got swag though. He got the East Coast drip on him. And usually when like a white boy got more swag, it sits a little better. Like, it's like, damn, he got some swag. Like I don't really see that often. He got some swag for sure.
Okay. I like it. And you've got the tats like he does kind of too. Do you have any that you want to talk about? Like what are some of your most important ones?
I ain't really got nothing crazy. I mean, I got my area code tatted on me.
Okay.
My favorite tattoo is my mom's name. Tatted her on me. I got the Joker when he blew up the little hospital in the movie and stuff like that.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. I just got in the back. I got like an astronaut reaching for the stars, like me shooting for my dream and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So nothing too crazy. Just like tattoos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
You got the right one clean though, right?
Oh yeah, it's on clean. Yeah, I got a little on my leg, one on my stomach and stuff like that. But
you're like Nick Young, just the right off buckets
off of buckets, yeah, exactly, off of buckets.
I don't even know what that means. I'm gonna let you guys have that one.
You can look up Nick Young. It's Nick Young.
Yeah,
right?
Nick Young did it.
Yeah. I think he only has tattoos on one arm because he keeps the other arm just for buckets. He didn't want to
Understand.
tattoo.
So you are a hooper.
Exactly.
Understood. Okay. And then, so you get to Iowa, you kind of went through your own adversities in terms of injuries and things like that. 2020, tore your Achilles, right?
Yeah.
And what was that like whole experience like? I feel like that
I
has
heard
to
that's
be,
one of the hardest ones to come back from.
Yeah,
and just one of the scariest injuries because that's such a like vital part, especially when you're running all of the time.
Exactly.
So what was that like?
Yeah, that was rough. I remember I was having a good camp as a freshman, so I was like pretty excited. Like I remember Brian told me like he wanted me to take like all the twos reps that day and like get a couple ones reps. Yeah, so I was like, oh, I'm feeling myself now. And I remember the whole play was like a post corner. I was like, I'm about to score on it. They're gonna go crazy. It's first play 7-on-7. And then I just like ran off, went in motion. When I went to like just jolt forward, I thought Sam Laporte had stepped in the back of my leg. I'm like, dang, this dude stepped on my leg. I look back and like he's not there, and I look forward and see him running. So I touch my leg. I stand up and I took a step. I'm like, yep, I tore my Achilles. And I just hopped off and I went to Cammy. I'm like, I think I tore my Achilles. And then Mir runs by like, you cramping, boy? I'm like, nah, I ain't cramping because I think I tore my Achilles. So then we went in there. And that was my first time I've ever like dealt with an injury. Like high school, like probably like sprained an ankle or something like that. Nothing ever major.
Just like near-death experiences that more injury related, but yeah.
Pass over that.
We'll just,
Did it hurt? Or what's that?
I feel like you're in shock, right?
Yeah, I didn't really, like, everyone said they heard it, like, pop, but I didn't hear or anything. I just was more just like, dang, I just messed up my touchdown. Yeah. I wasn't even worried about it. I'm like, I just felt like it's so, like, goofy of me. Yeah. But then I didn't know I just felt after, like, oh, I think I just tore my Achilles. So then, like, I was just in shock for, like, most of the time. Like, I can't believe I just tore my Achilles. I'm like, I don't know if I even come back and play from this now. I was like,
were you out for a year?
Yeah, well, 6 months, and then I came back for spring ball.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like the last week of spring ball, I got out there to play again. Probably rushed that one back too soon, but I just, like I said, I've never been out for that long for football, so I just wanted to get back so bad because it just like sucked.
That's a tough recovery process too, I would assume.
Yeah, it was. It was horrible, like running and stuff like that. Just getting back to running, like just running like side to side all the time.
Well, like there's a mental block there.
Yeah,
like that's what you got to come over.
Run through it. Yeah, just trying to get back, just running through it. It sucked for sure. Wasn't the best time, but got through it. I feel good now.
Yeah. And then when you had those surgeries and stuff, did your mom come visit you? Like, did she come stay with you?
She always tried to, but
because she's a nurse, right?
Yeah, she's a radiology tech. Yeah.
Okay, got it. So she probably always wanted to be there to help you along.
Yeah, she always wants to try to come down. Like when I hurt my wrist, she want to come down. Kaylee's mom's like, just you're good. I'm all right.
Yeah.
Call me. I'll be all good. You still got to work and stuff.
What happened to your wrist?
I tore last year during fall camp.
Because I remember you were wearing a brace or something during the season.
Yep. I had a scapula lunate surgery, so that's when fall camp. I was having a crazy fall camp that year too. I'm like, dang, I'm hooping this time. And then I jump up for a pass, come down, put my hand down, and I'm like, ooh, that felt crazy. Like I just felt like immediate like warmth through my hand. I'm like, oh, that feels great. So I just like tell him tape it up. I'm like catching passes. I'm like, it kind of hurts, but like whatever. I'm fine. I'll go out to play. So I'm like running back on. And then Tony, our trainer's like, hey, come on, what up? Let me check it out a little bit more. I'm like, I think I'm straight. Yeah. And then he was just touching. He was like, I think you sprained this or like it popped out or something. Like we got to go pop it back in. I'm like, all right, whatever. So like I'm in the back, like biting on a towel while this doctor's just like ripping my wrist every which way.
Oh my God.
He can't get it back in. I'm like, okay, I guess something's probably.
So it popped out?
Yeah, like because literally all the ligaments, every single ligament in front of it just ripped off. So like the whole thing just like flipped over. So they had to like put me to sleep just to put it back in because they couldn't do it while I just couldn't pop it in. So I had to like get drugged up and fall out and they put it back in. And then I had surgery on it. Had these 2 pins. That was the worst. This was worse than the Achilles for me, I think, just because like I constantly felt these 2 little pins in my wrist moving around. Oh, so I used to like run around, catch routes one-handed and stuff like that, just to stay in shape for when I got back for the season. And like I always felt these just like rubbing on stuff, and it was like just the worst pain ever from this one.
So I had 2 wrist surgeries because I broke my scaphoid, and so they like put a screw in, and then that didn't help, so they took that out, put in a different screw. This is before I got to Iowa, so like I've got pretty limited mobility, and like they wanted me to have a 3rd surgery when I got to Iowa, and I was like, I got a year without it. Like, I don't need another one, but that's like the wrist one, like that's real.
Yeah, it sucks. It took a while, like. And
you gotta trust it and like tuck a ball, like all of the little stuff.
I still can't like tuck the ball good. Like I always like just throw to my right arm because like this one I'm like I'm scared I'm gonna fumble the ball or something. Like, but yeah, this one like sucked for sure. I think more than my Achilles for sure.
Toughest guy on the team. I'm just gonna put it out there right now because everything you talk about is like it's just no big deal.
Yeah, still living. That's all that matters.
Wow, that is unbelievable. Okay, so does your family get to come out and watch you at all?
Yeah, they came out to a couple of games.
Yeah.
My mom stayed out here the first 3 games, so she got to see my first touchdown, which meant a lot to me.
Oh, nice.
And then my sister's probably going to come out sometime soon. My brothers, all my family members went to the Penn State game, so that was fun. They got, we got blown out, and they still got to watch me.
Still good they were there.
Yeah, it's still cool that they're there. So they come out whenever they can.
Okay.
One question I've been thinking about for a while.
How did you get number 0? Because I thought there was no way that they were handing this out.
Matt has such a thing about numbers. I can't understand it. But either way.
So I want to hear about it. How'd you get 0? Who'd you have to talk to be like, no, like this is mine?
Yeah, I talked to KF. I went right to him.
You went right to KF?
Right to KF. Yeah. Straight to him.
Man, he got no fear.
No. It's reminding me of this story about the button down. I'll just go tell my coach.
Yeah, just go right to the head, man. Get
Yep.
it done out the way. I just didn't want to wear 18. I'm like, 18 is not. I didn't like the way it looked on me. I'm like, I don't want no 18. I'm like, I always want.
Shout out Alec Wick.
Facts Wick. Throw it to Wick. Yeah, I didn't really like 18, so I was like, I just heard 0 can come out. Let me see if I can go get 0. So then I just went to him. I'm like, I don't weigh like 18. I got injured in 18. That's a bad number for me now. Can I get 0? And he was like, it's quite untraditional to wear number 0. I haven't really seen that before. I was like, yeah, I feel you, but like I think I'll be all good with it. And he was like, I think you'll leave it in the better place, so I think you can wear 0. I was like, cool. Walked right out of there. Like, it was a simple conversation. He didn't make too much of it. He was like, just really untraditional, but it's fine. He was like, you know what?
Well,
times are moving.
Well, they haven't had like number 0. Like you couldn't wear it until recently, right?
Yeah, exactly. It just came out like the year I wore. I think it just popped out that you can wear 0. So yeah, definitely shocking. But I was like, I'm gonna try it. I don't want to wear 18 no more.
The KF impersonation, spot on, really good.
I do it often.
Do you?
Yeah, we're constantly in the dream.
Matt always talks about him saying potential.
Potential. Yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's so good. Do you have any other coaches impersonations that you got in your back pocket?
Nah.
No, just that one.
Just say Parker, you have to cuss a lot. So
Yeah, we'll leave that one.
Yeah, well, this is a family show.
the ones I really know. Cope really simple guy. So
Let's say Cope chill for the most part.
Yeah.
Cool. Man.
He just be flexing.
Yeah, big Frozone.
Big Frozone?
Yeah. You know Frozone?
Yeah, for the Incredibles.
He's just the Akier version of him.
I love that.
Oh, that's so good. What are your hobbies outside of football? What do you like to do? Video games?
Video games.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really it. Just play the game whenever I can. Watch TV, Criminal Minds, stuff like that. Yeah.
What's your major?
Cinema.
Cinema?
Yeah.
What do you want to do with that?
I just like screenwriting, so I like to write. So I just do stuff
Really?
like that. Yeah.
Do you like to read?
Not really. I'm not a big reader, but I like to be creative and put stuff on paper and take little moments of my life and just make them exaggerate it and do a whole bunch of other stuff.
Well, bro, your life already.
Yeah, you don't got to exaggerate,
You can
honestly.
literally just write a biography and you'd be like, all right, this is good.
I might be able to. Yeah.
That's really cool.
So post NFL career, is that ultimately what you want to do?
Yeah, I definitely want to do something just like writing, something that type of, maybe write a movie, write a show, something like that. I wrote some stuff for a class I had, and like I didn't really know if I was good at it, but my teacher just was like, oh, this was like really good. Like I'm like, oh, appreciate it. I kind of just came up with it a day ago. I just got it in for you. So I was like, maybe I do have potential at it. Maybe I could get something.
That's pretty cool.
You're just baffling me. It's just so nonchalant about all of the things. Okay, so would you move out to like LA or do you want to move back home?
Definitely don't want to go home. Connecticut was cool for my like 18, 19 years being there, but nah, I don't think I'd stay that way.
You stay here?
Nah, whoa.
Yeah, we already
established that.
You can't handle the grass and the dirt.
Yeah, too much dirt over here. I gotta get out. I think I like I could go LA maybe, but I think I like the Carolinas. You still get like the Four Seasons and nice vibes, beach and stuff like that. I don't know. I have to see.
Yeah.
Wherever I get drafted to.
There you go. Do you have an NFL team that you like, not just to play for, but
yeah, I'm a diehard Cowboy fan, even though they let me down often.
Often.
Yeah.
Oh man.
My middle name's Dallas, so I always grew up saying I was Diante Dallas Cowboy Vines.
Oh really?
Yeah, I did on my homework and stuff like that as a little kid and stuff.
Oh man, that's so cool. Okay, well then we're.
Well, B. Smith was down there for a while.
Yeah, he was.
Did you play with Brandon?
80. I was here with him. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with him and Miro. That was 2020 years.
That's right. I forgot he and Amir were the same class.
Yeah.
He a big dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah, monster. Like action figure kind of guy.
Yes, like that's a legit Frozone. If Copeland big Frozone, like Brendan Smith Frozone.
B. Smith definitely. Good receiver.
Very good. Okay. Well, Diante, this was so great. Thank you so much for
Thanks
coming
for
out.
having me.
It was tough to get
this was a good
you. I'm so glad that I was one of your read messages. We broke through, and shout out to Olivia for
Shout out Liv for sure.
for helping us get you in here. So thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Go find your Halloween costume.
I will.
Enjoy the rest of your bye week, what little we have left.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
This season, Marquee Pizzeria is teaming up with Nico Reganey to help the University of Iowa Children's Hospital. Together, they've created a new signature pizza, the Nico Parm. Sounds so good. $2 of every pizza will be donated to the Children's Hospital. Visit Marquee Pizzeria, located in the Coralville River Landing, this fall and help the kids by eating pizza.
You know, if you're not in the mood for pizza,
If you're not, I love Estella's because it is fresh. From the fresh grilled steak to the salsas to their fresh pressed tortillas.
I love Estella's because it's quick, you can get in and out, and it doesn't feel like fast food. It feels like fresh food quick.
Yeah, we both love Estella's because it is made with love. They put a lot of pride in their food and customer service, and they are locally owned. Plus, it was my biggest pregnancy craving, I will say that too. That's Estella's Fresh Mex. Fresh food, made quick, with love.
Locally owned and operated, Performance is a full-service restoration company serving Eastern Iowa. As an IICRC certified firm, their multi-licensed technicians have decades of experience in water, mold, and fire mitigation. Whether it's your home or business, this is the team you want in the time of need. Performance Restoration, 319-626-2292.
The Appliance Barn offers a wide range of high-quality appliances at unbeatable prices.
Whether you're in the market for a new refrigerator, dishwasher, or washing machine, they've got you covered.
They also have a delivery and setup department to ensure your appliances get delivered and installed quickly.
To find out more, visit appliancebarn.com.
Alrighty, we are back. Matt, Diante is one of the most interesting. I say this every single week, but one of the most interesting dudes I've ever talked to, I think.
But I think it's that's part of what makes this podcast cool is to learn about all these stories. Like Deacon Hill has an Olympic sister. Logan Lee comes from a town of 9 people. And then you get Diante and he's like, yeah, we had 90,000 in our high school.
No,
It's and those guys are on the same team.
Yeah.
That's what's really cool.
It is. It's really interesting too, just to get his thoughts on his mentality with all the adversity that he's faced with
Dude
health
just giggled it.
alone.
Giggled it off.
He was like, yeah, I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is mad awkward. No, I'd be like, wait, I can die? Excuse, just really no reaction. It was cracking me up.
Interesting.
I've heard he's one of the biggest jokesters. Unfortunately, we couldn't get it out of him. I was like, I need more. I need more funny, but I don't think we're funny. So
Definitely not you.
okay.
It's about time I take a shot at her on the podcast. She always talking smack about me. Making sure I hit every camera here.
Not about you, directly to you. That's what makes it okay. All right.
Northwestern.
Here we go. Not being played at Ryan Field this week. We all know this.
Shoot.
Darn it. We did watch the game yesterday. Oh, well, 2 days ago on Saturday. Not a lot of people in the stands.
No, and they're 4-0 at home. Their 4 wins have all come at Ryan Field with limited fan base.
Yeah, kind of an interesting thing about Ryan Field. They're renovating it. They want to renovate it.
Well, yeah, they had a lot of money come in, right, to do something.
By the Ryan family, who has an incredible story, by the way. They're billionaires.
You had shared this on our previous podcast when we were in our closet.
Yes. We were in our closet 2 years ago. Yes, and it's such a good story. You have to go look at all the things that they've done in their lives
It's
and
incredible.
everything that they donate money to at Northwestern. I think they are the highest gifters to that university, and the things that they donate to it isn't just sports. It goes far beyond that, and it's a really interesting thing. So you got to check it out. They're billionaires. So I think they're worth $8 billion. Unbelievable. Yeah. Really cool. So that's who Ryan Field is named after, and they're trying to renovate it, and it's all going to be privately funded, so no taxpayer money is going to go toward it. But they're going to take down the number of seats. Smart.
It's going to go less?
Smart. Yeah. Sorry, but smart. They are reducing it by 12,000 seats. So it's going to fit.
How much does it hold now?
Well, it's going to fit 35,000 people, plus 12,000 is 47,000.
Laura,
Thank
golf
you
clap.
so much. I felt a lot of pressure with that math I just did on camera.
So if we're at 35,000, how much less is that than 77,000 that are at Kinnick?
I'm sorry, what were you asking me?
The 35,000 that are at Northwestern.
Yeah. Well,
How
that
much
are going
less?
to be at
That are going to
Northwestern.
be at Northwestern. How much less is that?
I'm not doing this game.
I'm kidding.
No, I don't want to play this game anymore. Anyway.
42.
What? 42,000. I'm sorry, 42,000. You can cut that out where he whispers it. It's the beauty of editing. All right. And they're also going to lower the height of it by like 30 feet.
Just make it windier?
No. So actually, we're going to pull up a picture. I sent it to our producer to put up. It is going to look like a mini NFL stadium. So you know how NFL stadiums have kind of that like overhang that goes like this? It's not going to be closed off, but it goes, if you're just listening and not watching, it's like kind of goes up and over slightly.
Over the field.
Yeah, over the field. Yeah. So it's going to bring down the noise because they're basically in the middle of a neighborhood. That it's the weirdest location of a stadium I've ever seen. But yeah, so I shouldn't say ever, but it is a very strange location. But yeah, it's going to go over. So it brings down the noise, brings down like the lights and all of the things for the neighborhood that surrounds it. So very interesting. And it looks like it's going to be beautiful. It's kind of like a circular.
Yeah, that much money. Yeah, I would assume.
Yeah, like an oval shape. I think they just donated like $480 million to the university. I don't know how much of that is
pocket change.
Literally. I don't know how much of that is going to like the stadium or whatever. But anyway, very cool. So this might be one of the last times that they're going to play at, it would have been one of the last times they were going to play at Ryan, potentially. We'll see. I don't know how many times we'll play Ryan Field again in the future. Not sure when it's supposed to be done. Anyway, I digress about that. We're going to Wrigley Field. You played at Yankee Stadium. How was that?
I don't want to talk about that. That was, Pinstripe Bowl 2017. That was the coldest game I think I've ever been a part of.
Yep.
We had, so the grass, they didn't have, that was before they put like the geothermal heat underneath.
Yep.
Which for those that aren't familiar with like cold weather football, typically like at Lambeau Field, which is where the Packers play in Green Bay, Wisconsin, they've got water that runs underneath the field and it gets really, really hot. So that way the grass doesn't freeze. So like you can continue to play as normal. But when you don't have that, it's like playing on a driveway. We had guys changing into tennis shoes at halftime. Like Stanley walked out with like the primer shoes that he would wear to try and like get any traction because it was bad. You can, if you go back and watch that game against Boston College, it's rough. I get smacked on punt return because I can't even make a move.
I didn't know if you were getting up after that. I'm not going to lie. I was like, oof.
It's my last game. I'm getting up. Okay. But that game and their heater caught on fire and they wouldn't let fans in the lower level.
Yes.
Which was weird.
That was a little bit strange. We were up pretty high. Well, anyway, this one's going to be at Wrigley. Hopefully this is a much better experience. They've actually played 2 other games Northwestern has at Wrigley. They played Illinois there in 2010 and then Purdue in 2021. And they have tons of different events, sporting events, concert events at Wrigley. Like this isn't one of the only ones, like it's not like crossover at Kinnick, where it's kind of an anomaly. They've played, they've had like boxing matches. They've got a ton of concerts, things like that. So they're not strangers to turning this place into something other than a baseball field. But I did watch a video about how they turned this into a football field. And I'm not going to lie, like it looks like a lot of work. From my perspective, I'm like, is it worth it? Obviously it is. But with the amount of work that goes into it, I just cannot imagine being on the crew that does all of this stuff. It's crazy. So they have to like rip up the infield and some of the outfield, like actually take out it's crazy. Then they also have to take out some seats. So they're extracting some like lower level seats. They have to install some different nets to catch the field goals. And then they also, what was the other thing? Oh, they take out the entire Cubs dugout. They just take it out, the home dugout. And then they put a bunch of like foam and stuff and whatever to like build it up so that it's field level. And then they lay grass, or I should say turf, over that. Is it grass or turf? I can't remember. Either way, they lay it over that so that they can make room for the end zones there. Isn't that wild? And
that's crazy.
Yeah. If you watch the video, it just looks like a lot. Anyway, so lots going into this to make this thing happen. But as I said, they're no strangers to turning it into something other than a baseball field. But I want to talk about, we touched on Ryan Field a little bit. I want to talk about Wrigley. Now, I'm not really a baseball fan. Not that I don't like it. I've just never really had a team, never followed it too much. I've been to 2 MLB games. I went to one at Wrigley and then one at Target Field. You and I went there when it was like 9,000 degrees.
And that was like 4 hours and we hit the 5th inning.
That was really like the longest game in the history of the game.
It was Red Sox versus the Twins.
It was a long one. It took a very long time. Either way, just never been too into it. But Wrigley is a very storied place. It's got a lot of history.
Mhm.
Pretty sure every Hawkeye fan is a Cubs fan, or pretty close.
Go Hawks, go.
No, I was going to talk about that. And that song will get in your head for eternity.
Eons.
No, it will.
Eons.
And you can throw any name in there. Go, Matt, go. Okay.
Hey.
But they play that song after every game that they win. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? Anyway, all right. We're going beyond that now.
Yeah.
So Wrigley, for those of you that maybe aren't familiar with Wrigley Field, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar, but aren't Cubs fans, these are just some fun, fast facts for you. Maybe you are Cubs fans and you just don't know these things. All right, let's get into it. The scoreboard, a lot of people know about this, has been around since 1937. It's the original scoreboard. Yeah, operated by hand. Isn't that crazy?
Really?
Yeah, still operated by hand. And it's never, the article that I read, it's never been hit by a ball. Ever. That's what it said. I was like, there's a lot of games that are played in baseball. I just wonder if up to this point, if it's ever been hit. But they say the scoreboard has never been hit.
Lucky scoreboard.
That's what I'm saying. Lights weren't added until 1988. Isn't that so late? And I'm going to tell you why. There's two reasons. They were supposed to be added back in the 40s, but when Pearl Harbor was attacked, P.K. Wrigley, who was the owner of Wrigley Field at the time, donated 165 tons of steel to the war effort instead of putting that up for the lights. And at the time, the city of Chicago put a city ordinance on night games saying that it would be too much of a distraction for the locals that lived in the neighborhood surrounding it because it's kind of smack in the middle of a neighborhood too. And so they were like, yeah, we don't need lights because we're not going to be playing night games. And then eventually they came to an agreement in, like I said, 1988. And like night games are still limited at Wrigley.
Interesting.
So there's that. My favorite movie ever, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, was filmed there, a portion of it. Do you know this part? Hey, bada, 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 so wing, bada, bada, he can it, so wing, bada. Do you know that?
I know the quote. I don't know the movie quite like you do.
Yeah, I know that movie well. So that was filmed there. The Bears played there from 1921 to 1970. Did you know they were called the Staleys in their first season and then changed to the Bears so they could be more coordinated with the Cubs?
Did not know that.
It was named after some like manufacturing something or other. Someone will have it in the comments. You can look there. Either way, yeah, they played there from 21 to 70. And I'm going to tell you something really stupid about my brain. I read that I was like, oh yeah, they're called the Staleys. And then, they decided to become the Bears to be in more coordinates with the Cubs. And my brain went, oh my God, I never realized that. I never made the connection that it's like the Bears and Bear Cubs. So that was a moment for me. And I said, should I say this out loud? And I said, I'm going to say this out loud because it was a little light on moment.
Next.
Okay. The ivy. We all know about the ivy that's on my ivy. Sorry, that's a quote from Dax. Planted in 1937. And this is an interesting part. If the ball gets lost in the ivy in the outfield, the outfielder has to like wave his hand and say like, hey, it got lost here. And then the play will stop and it'll just become a ground rule double. But if they don't like alert the ref and be like, hey, the ball is lost, whatever, it's still fair game.
Live.
Yeah, live ball.
There's no invalid fair catch or anything. You just wave and then.
That's up to the refs. That would be a question for the replay ref. That would not be a question for me, Matt. We've learned this. Okay.
Too soon?
No, that's fine. And then the last thing I'm going to say is the elephant gates in the outfield. So it's like a giant gate out there that they used to bring elephants in when they had the the circus at Wrigley Field. And so now they use it for a lot of other things, obviously bringing in large equipment for all of the events that they're putting on. But then also fans can stand on the outside of it and like get a view of the game that's going on. No charge. No charge at all.
Interesting.
And the other thing and I didn't write this down, but I'm sure a lot of people know about this too, but up on top of like the apartment buildings that are around it, people have put up bleachers for fans. They can like buy tickets or buy, whatever to sit up on these bleachers on the apartment buildings. And they came in, apartment owners, I guess, came with an agreement to, or with the Cubs. And we're like, hey, we're going to sell these and we'll give you a portion of the profit. And they're like, yeah, sounds good. Isn't that wild?
That's pretty crazy.
So Wrigley Field, it's a really cool place.
Definitely historic.
Been there one time. Went with a group of coworkers, and the only person, I think there was 2 in our group that were like really big Cubs fans. And one of my coworkers was like, hey, would you mind grabbing me some ice cream when you go get a water? And he was like, yeah, sure. So he goes down there, biggest Cubs fan of our whole group. And the second, I'm not joking, the second he walks out of his seat and gets down, like gets to the concourse or whatever, home run. Only home run of the entire game. I felt so bad because here's me sitting there like, yeah, Cubs are cool, but not really a huge fan. And I get to see the only home run in the game and he missed it. So cool experience. And I'm sure it's going to be so awesome there. I was reading another article just about the game coming up this weekend. And they were like, yeah, it's basically going to be a home game for Iowa because there's so many Iowa alumni that live in Chicago. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that come from Chicago to go to Iowa. Sure. Do you remember sitting in class and they'd be like, okay, say your name and where you're from? I would say about 70% of the people in our classes, they would say, hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm from a Chicago suburb.
And the amount of people that would bring up Portillo's.
Oh, I've been to Portillo's once. I didn't care about it.
Oh, that's a hot take.
I didn't care about it. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm sorry. It just was okay to me.
I remember there was I took an entrepreneurship and innovation class. Mm-hmm. And so like you had to come up with what business you would bring to what area. And I was in a group with a couple other players and we were like, ours was to bring turf to Arizona. So essentially, instead of just having dirt be your front yard, we would throw down turf. Essentially, that'd be your lawn. One of them said Portillo's, and then I gave this whole speech. And then at the very end is a picture of me catching a hot dog. And it was like, even Matt Vandeberg likes Portillo's. I've actually got the picture of it on my phone.
Do you like it?
Portillo's? It was okay.
Thank you.
It was good.
And you're saying, I'm saying it's a hot take. It
was good.
I could name other places that are better. Estella's. Done.
Estella's.
All right. Let's talk about Northwestern. I want to talk about their offense first. Does our defense have an opportunity to score some points? That's my question for you.
Yes.
Okay. Always.
Yes. They're +3 in the turnover margin, which is actually pretty good, I feel like, for Northwestern. They had that one year where they went to the Big Ten championship that everybody was like, how did they get here? And then nothing. Mm-hmm. Nothing before, nothing after. So a little bit of up and down. And obviously with all the stuff going on this offseason, Fitzgerald being let go, which I'm pretty sure he's still going through that lawsuit.
I don't know. I haven't heard
anything since. So comments, feel free to let us know how dumb we are. And I'm not sure like where that stands with him. And they started off pretty rocky, as you would assume. But I talked about before, they've won 4 games. All 4 were at Ryan Field. They're coming off a big win against Maryland, who started off 5-0, played Ohio State relatively tough in the first half before Ohio State was like, wait a minute, we're Ohio State. And then, did what Ohio State does. As far as their offense goes, their quarterback was their leading rusher. He had 14 carries. So he's gonna tote the rock, as they say.
We played another team that had like a pretty good running quarterback earlier in this season. I can't remember who it was, but we contained him really well.
There's been a few quarterbacks that have tried to run against us, and before that's kind of been our Achilles heel. Quarterbacks that are a little bit more mobile, but I think that we've been more disciplined in terms of how we rush the passer to help with that, as well as having a guy like Jay Higgins who just flies all over the place. That certainly helps. And Nick Jackson's speed and explosiveness has helped on the outside as well. But he was their leading rusher, so I expect him to carry the ball. They weren't afraid to take deep shots. Mm-hmm. And that's just not something that we typically see. Wisconsin took the 1 against Cooper, and then that was it. I want to say Northwestern hit 4 or 5 against Maryland, but they're not a fast team. Mm. Like their team speed is not fast. And what I mean by that is not like everybody over there is slow, but LaShawn Williams, 82-yard touchdown. Like they'll have similar plays. You can go back and watch the Nebraska game with Northwestern. They had 2 or 3 that were like that, and they get hawked at like the 15-yard line because they can't quite finish it. And then they have to settle for field goals. And they kicked 5 field goals against Maryland. Like they're good at moving the ball down there. And then the red zone, near the red zone, they kind of sputter a little bit. At least that's what this year would indicate. But it's a very different, I don't want to say aesthetic, but it's a very different mindset than what Iowa is. They've got games, right? Have you've been where they have like the hot dog versus the ketchup versus the mustard, and they do races at timeouts. Like that's not like the Iowa way, to do that.
They'll fit in well at a baseball field, though.
Yeah, like the gimmicky type stuff.
Yeah.
And that's just not something that Iowa does. Their new interim coach is very fired up and like yells and flexes and like does all this stuff because he brings the energy and he does.
Wait, remember the strength
he's
and
still there,
conditioning
I'm pretty
guy?
sure.
Okay. Have to.
Yeah. Last time I saw him, I think he had sleeves on though. So I don't know if he's like mellowed out. But for those of you that don't know, the strength and conditioning coach in Northwestern was like, he became famous for being big and not wearing a sweatshirt.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So like, but like that's been their shtick, is always like a little bit something that's not on the field, if that makes sense. And then you see KF over there and we'll have like a 99-yard touchdown and he'll just, so just very different in mindsets. And we'll see it on Saturday, how different that, shows up, but very cool to be able to go play at Wrigley. I think that's a really cool thing.
So let's transition. Matt, I cannot say the word transition. Let's transition to defense. Hello, Northwestern's defense. So they gave up a decent amount of points. Rutgers 24, Duke gave up 38, Minnesota gave up 34. What are you seeing from this that maybe this could be some potential for our offense to get some wheels turning a little bit?
Yeah, they're not, like I said, their team speed isn't great. So I wouldn't be surprised if we take advantage of something on the outside. I know that I say that every time, and I'm waiting for it because they play a very advantageous coverage for what I would like to do personally as a receiver sitting in this chair, is that they play quarters coverage, which I've kind of gone over in depth, but essentially each corner or DB has a quarter of the field. And what that does is that brings the safeties down into the run game, and it turns into man-to-man really quick, because now the corners have to take one if he goes vertical. And so now it's just like man-to-man. I remember in 2017, we were having a hard time moving the football, and I came off, and the way that the quarters coverage works is they're playing off and usually like head up to outside with their body facing the rest of the field, or facing the quarterback. So that way they can key up and like, if he has a 3-step drop, they can drive, like that kind of stuff. So they did that, and I came over and I was talking to Cope, and I was like, I don't care who runs the post, but somebody has to run a post. They cannot guard it. I don't care what it is. And I forget the actual play call. And even if I remembered, I won't say it here. But like, I was like, somebody has to run a post on this corner because he cannot guard it. He won't do it. Come back next series, Stanley hits me. I don't quite score. So apparently my team speed at that particular time wasn't high.
Not just, what did you call it?
Possession receiver.
Possession receiver.
But I ran by him, and Stanley put it in a great spot, caught it, like big play for us. And it's like, that's almost always there against quarters coverage. We've seen Seth Anderson's speed, first pass play of the year. He does the out and up. I wouldn't be surprised if we get to see him one-on-one. Deacon Hill can throw it from end zone or from Chicago to Iowa City. I would expect him to be able to just sit back there and just launch one. Like, I'm waiting on something like that to really open up. And I think that's the guy to do it. Now, a lot of times against quarters coverage, there's room in the middle of the field because of how low the safeties can get. And so I think that there's going to be a lot of opportunity, is my point. They do press a little bit on the outside. So, I mean, we got to be ready for a hand fight. But again, I say that a lot of times, but against this particular coverage, I think the deep ball is more in play this week than it has been maybe in prior weeks.
Okay. So I want to touch on special teams, not on ours for once. we're going to talk about the special teams from Northwestern and just really one in particular. And I really can't wait to see our producer's reaction to this celebration.
I don't know if they know this.
That he does. We saw this for the first time. He's been doing it all season. I just don't watch Northwestern games typically for a good time. But we were watching their game versus, who are they playing? Maryland. Yeah, on Saturday. We've already talked about this. And their kicker, last name is Olsen. His celebration, he goes like this after he makes like an extra point or a field goal. And then he puts his thumbs out like this to the rest of the players. And then has the players
milk his thumbs.
Has the rest of the team.
And like everybody does it. It's like the linemen will come back to him and quick do it before they go over to the sideline. Like,
I was like, wait, what are they doing? What is that? I think it's horrible.
The announcers said something about it, but I can't completely remember. And to be honest, I don't think I want to know anymore.
Nope. It's
so
just
if they make a
really
PAT
weird.
or a field goal, be ready for that BS.
It's not the rock, paper, scissors of the old days with, who was that? Our
I'm pretty sure Keith Duncan did
Keith Duncan and
Garrett Shudak.
Yeah. Anyway, so watch out for that whole situation. It's an interesting celebration.
It's something.
Yeah. Okay. Northwestern at Wrigley Field should be really cool. So,
definitely a much better locker room than what we would have faced if we went to Northwestern.
I would assume so. And I would assume that the field is getting ready right now. I don't know when they would have everything put together and all situated, but it's going to be cool. There's a ton of people traveling. It's really not that far. Just a little 3-hour jaunt to Chicago. I cannot imagine like the traffic, just all of the things trying to get into that place right now. Well, not right now, but this weekend.
The uptick at Portillo's is it's going to be massive.
Everybody's so excited for that. Never understand it either way.
You could actually for those that are listening, you can actually get them to like cater to your house. They will send you like all the ingredients.
Oh, really?
And like you just have to warm it up.
Cool.
I only know
Nice.
that because one of our builders did it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, should be an exciting game, I think. Low scoring, high scoring.
It's Iowa.
We'll see. See how it goes.
We'll see if we can hit some deep balls. Get that just expand the box a little bit. Let Deacon show us how far he can throw it and just kind of go from there.
Don't get it lost in the ivy though. I don't know what they would consider that.
Well, if their DB goes out there and does this,
then is that an invalid? I'm just kidding. Okay.
Too much.
Either way. All right. We're ready for this coming weekend. The bye week was nice to get a little break, but Hawkeye football is back and we're excited to see what happens. Hello. Thank you guys so much for listening. There, that'll get everybody's attention. We hope that you guys can leave some comments, like, subscribe, leave a 5-star review if you have the ability. It always helps us with getting this out to everybody. Also, we are very active on social media with all the TikToks and the Reels and all of the things, little clips that you can share with your friends and family. If you find it funny, if you find it entertaining, please do that just to spread the word about Talkin Hawks. We appreciate all of you listening, all of your support. Have a great rest of your week and go Hawks.
Go Hawks.